I mean, maybe Bolo Young can, like, snatch 450 pounds. Hi, guys. My name is Joe, and welcome to Fighting Words, the martial arts library. On this channel, I review martial arts books and talk about other martial arts related subjects. This is a segment I call Media Fight Mondays. So, on the first and third Monday of every month, I take a fight scene from movies, television, animation, and so on, and I break down the action, and then I gave it a grade. So this week I'm taking a look at one of the fights from the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Double Impact, which came out in 1991. For those of you who have seen it, it's the one where Jean-Claude Van Damme plays twins. And for those of you who haven't seen it, Jean-Claude Van Damme plays twins. and he had hoped that it would allow audiences to see different aspects of his personality, as one of them is streetwise and gruff, and the other is more sheltered and kind. Anyway, in this particular fight scene, one of the brothers is pursuing the bad guys through, I think it's a ship, and this particular bad guy in question is played by Bolo Young, who Jean-Claude Van Damme actually brought on because he had so much fun working with him on their previous movie Bloodsport. I don't think a whole lot more setup is necessary, just we're going to see a fight scene. As far as the choreographer goes, according to IMDb, there's a fight coordinator who was Jean-Claude Van Damme himself, and then there was also a martial arts coordinator. That was Peter Molata, who has a 6th-degree black belt in Taekwondo. He's known for his flexibility, and he has done a number of movies. So I'm not sure who choreographed this particular fight scene. Couldn't find any specific information on it, but let's get into it. So, 55-gallon oil drum knocks him from behind, and then he narrowly avoids another one. All right, so I actually looked up both the empty and full weights of these drums. The empty weight is about 47 pounds. The full weight can get up to almost 10 times that. Some of the sources I found said that when it's filled with oil, it's over 430 pounds, and when it's filled with water, it's closer to 450 pounds. So that's around or over 200 kilograms for those of us that don't speak imperial measurements. His gun is knocked away, and Bolo Young appears to stomp him in his face. I hope he's not actually lifting 400 pounds. That would be an incredible feat. Oh, he lost his gun. That has always been a crazy scene to me. I don't know why you would kick it out of the air instead of, moving. Because the guy's got it over his head. What else is he going to do with it besides toss it at you? So we're already getting into a realm where maybe this isn't all that realistic. I don't know what kind of impact that would have on, like, the joints of the legs and possibly the bones. Now we do see him grabbing his hamstring and almost being crushed. It says flammable on the side. Maybe it is supposed to be oil. I think this is an interesting use of the environment here. I do kind of like it. As someone who had to look up the weights, if I didn't know how much this weighed, you go, all right, that's sort of believable. I don't think Jean-Claude Van Damme can bench press over 400 pounds. I would be very skeptical about that. He's really fit at this point in his career. But come on, man. You sort of got to be a big dude to press that much, especially when you have another large human being who's using it to steamroll you. Kicks him in the groin. That causes him to toss it away. So Bolo picks him up, strips out of his shirt. That would have been a good time to punch him while he was messing with his clothes. And here goes a kick, like an outside crescent kick to me. And instead of pursuing it, he says, "Come on." I like this. I don't really know what Bolo Young's voice sounds like. Sometimes they will dub over voices that they don't like. But I like the aspect of this that these guys may not speak the same language, but we definitely know what that meant. Her! Two shirtless, muscly guys. Like some sort of tiger claw attack. Looks like he missed with a side kick. And then jumps over a kick to the legs. Throws a hook kick of his own. It's interesting that both of these guys are taking up sort of this side stance. It was actually pretty common in some of the martial arts sparring that was going on at the time. One of the disadvantages of being more sideways to your opponent is that it's more difficult to bring the rear weapons into play. You sort of have to cross over your body a lot more. Although it actually allows for pretty good spinning techniques, it makes it easier to execute those because you don't have to, again, use your front leg to cross over your rear leg in order to get the spin quite as much. Front kick is deflected. It's a palm strike to the face, and that looked like maybe a forearm or ridge hand to the chest. I mean, maybe Bolo Young can, like, snatch 450 pounds, but I bet he can't hold it in front of him. And I don't think Jean-Claude Van Damme has that vertical leap. It makes for cool action. I appreciate it. I think it was sort of inventive. But I don't think you're finding that without props. You know, something to jump off of and things like that. Straight punch to the face. Does his little helicopter kick. Sort of famous for that. Jumping round kick. Helicopter kick. Ditto. Oh no, he got electrocuted. And it's a fight. So let's score the realism first. Not very. Like I said, there were certain aspects of this, like Jean-Claude Van Damme having practically a 6 foot vertical jump, you know, over a guy the size of Bolo Young, who isn't 6 feet, but in order to clear him, you'd have to get about that high. Bolo Young holding, I mean, it's an indeterminate weight, but if it's filled with liquid, it's probably over 400 pounds. But like holding that in front of him, no. Most of the moves they were using were pretty realistic. Although some of the defenses, like, you know, again, jumping over a low kick, it's. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. You're not going to get most people doing that. It is extremely unlikely to see something like that happen. I'm going to say D plus, which is pretty low, but also I think it's fair because of how many unrealistic things were happening. I don't even think Bolo Young should be getting electrocuted unless they have like no electricians working on this boat at all. As far as storytelling goes, I would grade that higher. You know, we see a sequence of events. We see, you know, Van Damme reach for his gun that he's lost. Like, oh no. We get introduced to the idea of a fight and that the barrels are going to come into play by Van Damme getting knocked off his feet with a barrel and then having to avoid another one. And we do see Bolo Young utilizing those. We see Van Damme having to defend against those. So I like how they were using the environment here. I think it got sort of repetitive toward the end of the sequence with him just throwing the same kicks back and forth. That was actually sort of reminiscent of Bloodsport, come to think of it. We also got Bolo doing that sign language. You know, we got both guys sort of showing their physical prowess. Like, Bolo didn't need to take his shirt off. But again, that was, you know, he needed to flex to show how big he was. So there was definitely a nonverbal story being told here. And I think because this is supposed to be the gentler of the two twins that Van Damme is playing in this scene, I think the fact that he's sort of indirectly responsible for Bolo's character's death here sort of saves his character a bit. You know, he didn't ruthlessly kill him, he inadvertently kicked him into something that caused his death. So I do like that bit of storytelling. So I'd say as far as storytelling goes, solid B plus. You know, I think it's a little bit short and like I said, got a little repetitive, but I like how they kept coming back to the props of the barrels, and I think they told a pretty good nonverbal story as far as the communication between the fighters. So thank you for following along with me. If you would like to recommend a video for me to break down, please consider donating to my Ko-fi account, or do it if you'd just like to support the channel. Again, this has been Media Fight Monday. I do these the first and third Mondays of every month, and I hope you like it. If you do, please subscribe. I got a playlist that this is going to be part of. Go ahead and check that out if you want to see more fights like this that I break down, and I'll see you later.